Athletes are arriving in Tokyo to prepare for an Olympic Games with no spectators. Organisers have announced a total ban on both foreign and domestic fans attending the event after a new coronavirus state of emergency was declared across parts of Japan. The Games will be the first in Olympic history to be held behind closed doors, and some say they shouldn't be happening at all.
Better late than never, some might say. After a long journey through all of Japan's 47 prefectures, the Olympic flame has finally arrived in Tokyo, 1 year behind schedule due to the coronavirus pandemic. Rising COVID-19 cases in the capital also meant members of the public were not there to greet the flame. Authorities announced a state of emergency in Tokyo for the duration of the Games to try to curb the spread of the virus amid fears of the Delta variant. The measure mostly limits alcohol sales and restaurant opening hours to try to stop contagion. But it also means these will be the first Olympic Games without fans in attendance. Stadiums like this one will be mostly empty. The government's restrictions for Tokyo, Saitama, Kanagawa, and Chiba prefectures would have capped event attendance at 50% of venue capacity, up to 5,000 people. But we have decided to allow no fans during the Games as a stricter measure to prevent further spread of the virus. The decision has put a damper on the mood just 2 weeks ahead of the opening ceremony. Polls show large swaths of the public don't want the Games to take place. Some people are even taking to the streets. I don't think we should hold the Olympics in such a situation. Together with these people who share my same opinion, we want to protest against the Olympics till the very end, and we want them to be cancelled. That's why I came here today. But organizers are not giving up and are determined to move forward. The Olympic flame may be small right now, but they hope it will help spark enthusiasm ahead of these unprecedented Games.
Well, for more, let's bring in journalist Martin Fritz. He joins us from Tokyo. Martin, the Olympic flame has arrived in Tokyo to quite a lacklustre reception. How much enthusiasm overall is there in Japan for the Games?
Well, I think there's a variety of rather harsh reactions here to the decision yesterday not to allow any spectators into the stadiums. Many Japanese who were able to get tickets 2 years ago are naturally disappointed, and so are the 80,000 volunteers who spent months preparing and will not have much to do without spectators. And overall, I think there's a sense of defeat here. Many Japanese still don't want the Olympics to happen, so they are dissatisfied and angry, and you can see that on social media. And restaurant owners complain that they have to close early in the evening and are not allowed to serve alcohol, which threatens their livelihood. And all this just for the Olympics to be staged. And another part of the public in Japan feels that Japan has broken its promise to make these Games a success. Without spectators, that hardly seems possible anymore. And some Japanese people I talk to here are a bit ashamed of this failure.
So quite a split opinion there, you might say. But although cases are surging there at the moment, Japan overall has relatively low cases. Are the authorities just being overly cautious?
Well, they have a big problem. They have promised to stage secure and safe Games. And now they have to make sure that this happens. So the number of new infections in Tokyo is quite low. It's far below the peak levels. Yesterday we had about 900 cases, and the Delta variant makes up to 20% out of them. But Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga justified this fourth state of emergency for the capital region with its almost 40 million inhabitants by saying that he wants to prevent a national outbreak of the pandemic. And of course, this is being done with an eye on the Summer Olympics, which begin in 2 weeks today. And it is imperative to prevent the pandemic from affecting the staging of the Games. So the virus must be contained now as far as possible. That is the idea.
How's the immunisation program going there? In the lead up to the Games, the immunisation rates have been quite low. Has there been some improvement?
That's a second problem the government had to take into account yesterday in its decision. The vaccination speed has risen quite a lot. Now about 15% of the Japanese population are vaccinated twice and about 25% have gotten one shot. But at the moment, Japan is running low on vaccines, so the speed of vaccinations cannot be increased. And that is also another reason why this state of emergency will last until the middle of August.
Well, Japan seemed determined to push on with the Games despite everything. Martin Fritz, journalist in Japan, thanks very much for speaking to us.